I'm a podcaster. You don't normally see my face. Today I was inspired by Polly Works to do a mediocre garden tour. Let's take a look. I love the idea of celebrating mediocrity, and that you don't have to have a 20-year-old incredible no-dig sustainable garden in a tiny acreage or, a 3,500 acre estate. Somewhere you can have a rental, you can have a backyard, you can have a porch, you can have a balcony, you can have literally houseplants in your window, whatever window you have. We lived in a basement apartment for a little while, and even then I had pots on the path leading to our doorway. So pretty much any gardening is good gardening. I have a fair-sized backyard now that I'm renting here in Peterborough, and I'll give you a little bit of a tour today, but this is by no means to celebrate the stuff that I'm doing. I'm not saying this is an amazing garden. I'm not saying that this is, not amazing. I'm pretty impressed with what I have and what I've been able to do on a budget. So I'll be able to point out all of the things that were thrifted or found or given to us for free or repurposed. I'll be able to talk a little bit about the composter that we've also got back here and what we're doing to rewild the space. More on that later with Will. We're going to be doing a bit more of a conversation about that stuff. Let's take a look. So all of this is our backyard space. The garden, genuinely when we moved in, it started just as this small little plot here and then some things along the fence. They're all covered with leaves right now, so it might be a little bit challenging to see, but all of the bricks were actually there was a little walking path that would go right next to our driveway, and so I repurposed those bricks when I found out that the landlord wanted to tear them up anyway and send them to landfill in order to put a new driveway. These two white boxes came from across the street. The neighbor was getting rid of some bookshelves, so I took out the shelves and have had those sitting here since the first spring. This is what it looks like with the lid on, or the kind of cold frame lid on. I have another window like this that helps to cover the other box, the other raised bed there, and both of them just came from our garage when we moved in. This one smashed last summer, and so it just has some repurposed plastic on there. Something I want to mention too is just where all of the dirt comes from. I have been thrifty there as well and tried to prioritize getting it locally, package free, all of that schmozzle, but also it is often supporting the Peterborough Green Up Ecology Park, which is in one of my podcast episodes. Just check out your dump and see if they are composting yard waste in order to take advantage of a repurposed material that was just going to be thrown out anyway. The best thing. But you can also buy dirt in bags. You know what? The whole point is that you're gardening. So just do it. This is our composter. We built this out of pallet wood, and so rather than just tipping 4 pallets together or 3 pallets together, that's something that I've seen done very often and is a great solution. Instead, we'll actually pry apart a lot of the wood in order to have it just be a little bit more fully covered. Inside it's lined with chicken wire. The chicken wire just helps keep things from falling out through the cracks. And here is our friendly compost, full of little red wigglers and all of that kind of beautiful microorganisms in there. This has been since 2018, so that's 4 years now that we've been at this place. 3 years. And the compost we've been collecting ever since. It's also a community compost, and so I have a lot of participants from the local community through the Share Waste app originally, but then just through word of mouth that bring their compost here, which has been wonderful. I'll walk you through. We've been sifting the compost lately. I've been sifting the compost because that's the thing I like to do. And so I've been scooping the compost from the side. I tip the whole thing over and scoop some of the compost from the very bottom into the top of this repurposed fire grate cover, really is what it is. It came with our fire we bought, and it's been very helpful for sifting all of the compost, gets all of the really fine stuff out. This is the final result and it's pretty exciting and I love it. It's just so beautiful. It's just this amazing stuff that used to be food scraps and is now ready to go in my garden. And what I'll be using this compost for this year is trying to, when I plant stuff in the garden, I'll be digging down through the leaf mulch, so that's just a layer of leaves that have been there over the winter. I'll be digging down just the spots that I'm going to be planting, and I'll be able to put some compost right on top of or around the plants that are ready to get planted. The name of the garden is called Wandermere because I wanted to be able to wander through the spaces quite at my leisure and not have it be so rigid, but the rigidity does help when you're trying to do some square foot gardening, which is the method that I typically use in such a small area. I want to point out a few other elements of the backyard. We've got a raspberry cane planted back here, a couple of them. Hopefully they will continue to spread. They spread by the tip of the plant leaning way over and reaching the soil, and it plants itself again and spreads that way. So we've got maybe 3 raspberry plants there. Last year we had about 2 raspberries, so it was very minimal but still exciting. And over here we have some black raspberries, which are less delicious. The seeds are bigger, but they are growing wild here, and I have not had to plant them or really tend them at all. We also have a rain barrel in this corner. This will be the first year that I have it in this corner. This is pretty close to the garden, whereas last year I had the second rain barrel located closer to the house. And the second rain barrel, the first one really, is located over here. It's going to be up on this platform again once we get everything set up. It's just positioned behind there for now, upside down, to protect it from ice getting in there and then cracking it. Because while it's beautiful today, it may still snow. It will still snow here in Canada. So that's a bit of a look at our garden. I like to call it a mediocre garden because honestly that takes so much of the pressure off, even though I have been gardening for 6 years now and I love it. Many different iterations of it where I have had, again, just pots on the stoop of my door. I've had things just growing in the windows. Having a spot in the community garden is so valuable and so important, so try to find something like that if you don't have a space of your own in your own backyard. So I'd love to encourage you to start gardening, plant some seeds. I'll show you some shots of my seedlings that are starting. Honestly, yeah, just start seeds, grow something. It's the best. I hope you guys liked this format of me being on camera instead of just in your ears. I hope you guys are inspired to repurpose things, to DIY things, to have a bit of a junkyard backyard. It doesn't have to look perfect if you don't want to spend any money on it. There's lots and lots of great content. If I do say so myself, all these wonderful interviews that are just dying to be listened to if you haven't heard them, and I will put together this video with a playlist of some of the past episodes of the podcast, I think. Maybe I'll do that, we'll see, and be able to put it all in one place for you if you're interested in gardening, starting seeds, having a rewilded backyard. Thanks so much for listening, for watching today. Have a great week, everyone, and talk to you soon.